Anybody not have worksheet 49 before we get started? You don't have 49? Why do so many people not have 49? Is there a lot of people absent on Friday? You got this?
Just kidding. Oh.
I actually can't remember anything.
Yeah, once again, we need 49 priorities. You got it? Okay. You need it. You need it. You need it. You need it. All right. Yeah. Let's do this first. So, remember with the elimination method, we're typically gonna see this in standard form. Right? What we saw in the warm-up, that was slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Here, we're going to see them in standard form. ax plus by equals c, if you remember that from an earlier notes in this unit. So when we see our equations set up like this, what are we looking for in order to eliminate?
Everything.
More specific. We're looking for something that starts with an I. Do you guys remember what that word is?
Oh, enter something.
No.
Intersect.
No. Good guess.
Elimination.
That's a bad guess.
Inverse.
I said that.
Inverse, right? Do I see any terms here that are the inverse of each other?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah?
The X.
The x variables, 5x and minus 5x, right? I see right away those are inverses because one's positive, one's negative, and they're the same thing. So once I locate those inverses, what can I do with them?
Cross it out.
Cross them out. Because what is 5x minus 5x? 0. So we're not going to worry about it. Now I have negative 7y plus 4y. We're going to add down. What is negative 7y plus 4y?
Negative 3.
Negative 3 what? Why?
Why?
And we'll take our constants and add those down. What's 3 plus 9? 12. And we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. All right, 12 divided by negative 3 gives me negative 4. Are we done? No, just like in the warm-up, right? Whether we're doing substitution or elimination, we got to take half of our answer, plug it back in to get our other half. Which equation do we want to use, the top one or the bottom one? Anyone, it doesn't matter. Let's go with the top one. Okay, am I going to replace x with negative 4 or am I going to replace y with negative 4? Y, because that's what we just found, was y. Again, in the beginning, my x's disappeared. I solved for y. Now I'm going to plug that y back in order to solve for x. This is where we have to be careful, right? What is negative 7 times negative 4?
Positive 28.
Positive 28. All right. Everybody with me so far? How I got there?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. What do I do now? Subtract 28. What's 3 minus 28? Negative 25. And then I divide both sides by 5, and what am I left with? What's 25 divided by 5? Negative 5. So my solution is going to be negative 4, negative 5. Yes? No?
The X goes first.
What did I do?
You put the Y first.
Oh, you're right. My bad. Good catch. X always goes first, just like in the alphabet. Negative 4, comma, negative 5. That's my solution. Give me a thumbs up if that's what you got for number 2. Okay. What do you guys think is easier, the warm-up method or this method?
The warm-up.
The warm-up?
Yeah.
Interesting. I always found this one easier, but everybody's different. So some of you may find one way easier than the other. All right, number 5. What are my inverses? Are my x's inverses or my y's inverses?
Y's.
My y's. But one of my x's is positive and one's negative. Why aren't those inverses?
Because they're not the same number.
That's right. They're not the same number. So what can I do with my minus 6y plus 6y?
Cross it out.
Cross it out. What's 7x minus 8x? Negative 1x. And what's 20 minus 22? Negative 2. Okay, how can I get x all by itself now? Divide by -1. Leaving me with +2. Right? 2 over 1 is just 2. Negative over a negative is just a positive. Now again, I'm going to plug this x back in. I'll take my first equation. This time I got to be careful. I'm plugging it in for x this time, not for y. What is 7 times 2? 14. Am I going to divide by -6 now? Not yet. I got to do something else first. What am I going to do first? Subtract 14. What's 20 minus 14? 6. Okay, now what do I do? Add 6 to both sides? No, we divide by -6. Great job. And we end up with -1. Put my x and my y together with the x in front. Boom. There is my solution. 2, -1. Give me a thumbs up if that's what you got for number 5. Anybody? Daniel did, Jawad did, Caleb did, Raya did, Araya did. Good. Yep, in the front. Perfect. Great job. Last but not least, before we start our recap number 9, what am I crossing out here? The x's or the y's? Crossing out the y's. They're the same number but different sign in front. What's -8x plus 3x? What's -8 plus 3? -5. And then 15 minus 5, that's just 10. Divide by -5. My first answer here, first part of my answer is -2. I'm going to take my second equation this time. Am I going to plug it in for x or for y? For x. 3 times -2 minus 7y equals 15. What's 3 times -2? -6. What do I want to do now? I'm going to add 6 to both sides. -7y equals 21. Divide by -7, and what am I left with? Well, how many times does 7 go into 21? 3 times, and a positive over a negative gives me a negative. Boom. There's my answer. -2, comma, -3. Sound good? Any other questions? No? Perfect.